And good evening once again. Day 1245 of the Trump administration. 139 days to go now until our presidential election. We have a great deal to talk about here tonight. Tensions are high this evening in the Atlanta Police Department now that an officer is facing murder and other charges in the shooting death of Rayshard Brooks. More on that story coming up. President Trump moving full steam ahead with his Tulsa campaign rally this weekend, even as coronavirus cases are spiking in Oklahoma and locally in the city of Tulsa. But we begin tonight with Trump's former national security advisor's stunning allegations against his former boss. It's all in a tell-all book about his time in the Trump White House. NBC News, among the news organizations that has seen the book. John Bolton spent nearly a year and a half inside the Trump West Wing. Excerpts of his book, The Room Where It Happened, are now public, despite ongoing Justice Department efforts to block its publication somehow. The book will be officially released on Tuesday, but today excerpts were published in the Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, New York Times. The Times describes it as, quote, a withering portrait of a president ignorant of even basic facts about the world, susceptible to transparent flattery by authoritarian leaders manipulating him, and prone to false statements, foul-mouthed eruptions, and snap decisions. Among the most explosive allegations, Trump outright asked China to help him get reelected. John Bolton writes that in June 2019, during a one-on-one meeting with China's president at the G20 summit right there, Trump linked China's purchases of U.S. agricultural products to a second term in the White House. Bolton writes, quote, Xi said he wanted to work with Trump for 6 more years, and Trump replied that people were saying that the 2-term constitutional limit on presidents should be repealed for him. Bolton goes on to write, he then stunningly turned the conversation to the coming U.S. presidential election, alluding to China's economic capability and pleading with Xi to ensure he'd win. You may recall Trump saying this about foreign interference in our elections back in 2019.
If Russia, if China, if someone else offers you information on an opponent, should they accept it or should they call the FBI?
I think maybe you do both. I think I'd want to hear it. It's not an interference. They have information. I think I'd take it.
China should start an investigation into the Bidens, because what happened in China is just about as bad as what happened with Ukraine.
John Bolton also writes this, and we quote, I am hard-pressed to identify any significant Trump decision during my White House tenure that wasn't driven by re-election calculations. The New York Times points out Bolton also writes about House Democrats' efforts to impeach the president for abuse of power for holding up security aid while pressuring Ukraine to publicly announce investigations into the Bidens. Bolton eventually offered to testify in the Senate trial, you'll recall, only if he was subpoenaed, but the Republicans, of course, wouldn't allow that. Washington Post is reporting on a portion of the book where Bolton writes he was shocked by Trump's limited foreign policy knowledge and that, quote, he recalls Trump asking then Chief of Staff John Kelly if the nation of Finland is part of Russia. In a meeting with then British Prime Minister Theresa May in 2018, a British official referred to the UK as a nuclear power, and Trump interjects, oh, are you a nuclear power? Bolton also writes that during Trump's 2018 meeting with North Korea's leader, quote, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo passed me his notepad on which he had written, he is so full of the S word. I agreed. The former national security advisor is also speaking out on camera about his time serving the president. In one excerpt from his ABC News sit-down interview, Bolton talks about Trump's relationship with Vladimir Putin.
I think Putin thinks he can play him like a fiddle. I think Putin is smart, tough. I think he sees that he's not faced with a serious adversary here. I don't think he's worried about Donald Trump. When you're dealing with somebody like Putin who has made his life understanding Russia's strategic position in the world against Donald Trump, who doesn't enjoy reading about these issues or learning about them, it's a very difficult position for America to be in.
And one more word on this front. The U.S. Justice Department, your Justice Department, is now seeking an emergency order to block publication of Bolton's book, which again has been printed and is in the hands and homes of a number of journalists, some of them guests on this broadcast. The LA Times reports prosecutors are deciding whether to criminally charge Bolton with disclosing classified information. Indeed, tonight, Trump continued down that path during an interview with Sean Hannity on Fox News.
He was a washed-up guy. I gave him a chance. He broke the law. Very simple. I mean, as much as it's going to be broken, this is highly classified. That's the highest stage. It's highly classified information, and he did not have approval.
The president's still looking forward to his rally scheduled for 3 days from now in Tulsa. It's expected to bring thousands of people together indoors, despite the alarming number of coronavirus cases in that city and that state. Earlier today, a state judge turned down a request asking that the company organizing the rally enforce social distancing protocols. Tonight, Trump also talked about the rally and the virus.
It's fading away. It's going to fade away. There are lines of people now, and we won't be there for 3 days. There's just a hunger for the rallies, and I enjoy doing them, but they enjoy them more importantly than me.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.